Okay, so you're all very welcome to our first monthly Shubh Mindful Meet. And this is going to be a monthly occurrence. And we will keep meeting and we will keep making progress on this path of mindful living because it's a conscious awakening process which is slow and consistent, but the fruits can only be uh, reaped if we keep consistency on this path. So today's topic is meditation, and you all have already told me about your own experience of meditation and your own journey on meditation path. So let's experience few conscious breaths, and then we will do a little bit of talking and then some more meditation. So with the sound of the bell, just start to connect with your breath. Bring your mind home to the body. Feel this sitting body with the mind in one place. Feel the breath coming in and going out. At the end of the nostril, notice the breath entering the nostril and leaving the nostril. While you're noticing the breath coming in and going out, activate your observer mode in the mind. So with the mind, there is a higher mind that can act like an observer. So your autopilot mode of the mind will be thinking and is still creating some thoughts. But the higher mind or conscious mind will observe what's going on. So let's practice this. You don't have to stop any thoughts. You don't have to push them away. Just simply notice. We are training the mind muscle. Every time mind starts to wander, just bring it gently back to breath. and keep the mind in an observer mode. Do not create any thought and do not stop any thought. Just observe. Every time mind starts to wander, just bring your attention back to the breath. Breath is an anchor which will bring the mind home to the body. Notice each breath coming in and going out through the nostril. Notice how breath travels through the body when it enters through the nostril. And also notice how does it feel in the body when breath leaves the body. Keeping the observer mode active, noticing any thoughts that arise in the attention field of the mind. Notice the breath coming in and going out. Mind likes to run away from this constant noticing of the breath. And that's okay. That's absolutely normal. But what you are doing is consciously bringing the mind back to this breath. It's called conscious breathing. It's called mindful awareness of the breath. And with the sound of the bell, you can open your eyes. So we meditated for about 15 minutes, probably a little bit longer. I don't know if you noticed, but all we were doing, we were training the mind muscle, because it's literally like you spend the time in the gym training the muscles in the body. In the same way, researchers have found that if you simply sit and practice meditation, you are making physical changes in your brain. And that was the biggest discovery of neuroscience, when they found that there are neural pathways that change that there are certain areas of the brain that activate when you are practicing like this. So we are training the mind muscle and we are learning to be more fully aware. So some people think that meditation is relaxation. No. The fruit of the meditation can be relaxation, but you're not really relaxing there. You go and lie down on the beach and you relax. Meditation is not relaxation. Meditation is not sleeping. Although I have been to a mindfulness class where, the teacher was teaching, and there were a couple of students who literally just slept through each class, and that was absolutely fine. That's exactly what probably their body needed, but they were not doing mindful meditation or learning, because you are sitting with a heightened sense of awareness. You're actually more alert than ever at any stage in your life. Like, you may go through your day and do a lot of things in an autopilot mode or in an aware mode. But when you are sitting in one place and doing nothing, it's non-doing, but non-doing with a greater purpose. So I remember in my last workshop that I provided for I am a professional, and the theme is mindfulness and meditation for holistic nursing and midwifery care. So one of the participants said that, some of my colleagues were saying that, oh, you're going to learn to do nothing. And they were kind of making fun. But that's what people might say to you, that what are you doing? You're doing nothing. But we really learn to stop. We learn to pause. So mindfulness practice gives you that stop. It gives you that pause. Sometimes the full stop may not be a full stop. It may be literally like a comma. So you separate your day, as Catherine said that, she takes breathing exercises during the day and she doesn't even consider them as meditation practice. But what she's doing literally is putting a full stop to some part of the day before moving on to the other part of the day. And that is excellent practice, must be continued. And then what is comma practice? So comma practice is that if you are having kind of, you just recognize that you're too stressed out, or your head feels heavy, your mind feels heavy, body feels tired, then you just stop and take few conscious breaths. That will give you a little comma before you move on to do the next thing. Some people, before starting meeting, they take few breaths. So that is like giving yourself that break from whatever you have been doing before you start something else. So I will like to talk about some researches and how meditation practice works on the brain. And with our mindful yoga practice, we have been working with the yogic body model, which I'm sure, because you all have been with me for the last 4 weeks, so you're very well familiar. So let's focus again on that yogic, because I really want you to know it by heart. And anything that you do will fit into this model. So no matter what practice you are adopting, because when people talk about meditation, even today I had a query from a client who's trying to learn meditation, and he was saying that, there are so many, like, I'm really confused, and he's a young student who's learning and who is preparing for competitive exams, and he finds it very overwhelming that so many people are suggesting you do this mantra or that mantra. So it can be quite confusing, and some people might be lost completely. And he said that he has tried meditating 3 times and gave up. And the only reason people give up because either they don't have enough support, continuous support, that somebody that they can go back to and ask question, or they feel like they are not getting what they want. So first of all, we have to let go of this want. So when I do meditation, I literally have no agenda, no aim, no objective. I just literally sit there and allow. So that's why mindful meditation is a little bit different than other practices. I'm not saying that other practices are wrong. Like transcendental meditation has been known for its success worldwide. Lots of people have tried and benefited, and they have done lots of researches. Mantra meditation is extremely powerful, extremely beneficial for some people. But as they say, that different strokes for different folks. So it may work for some people, may not work for other people. But mindful meditation is something that there is no scope for escapism because we will have every reason to bring you back to your mat and bring you back to your meditation practice. Because you ask me question, I'll have answer for that. Because there is no excuse. Because you just simply sit there, allow, and you let things come up. And you can do any form of meditation, but mindful meditation is just simply based on your breath, because breath is something that you cannot forget somewhere. You can't say that, oh, my internet is not working, so that my guided meditation can't be played, or my phone has some problem, my microphone isn't working. Like anywhere you go, as I said to you, Lisa, that you can do it sitting on the beach, or so that means your breath will go with you wherever you go, so you can't forget at home. So that means breathing meditation can be practiced anywhere, and you just simply sit and observe. It can't be any more simple than this, and there is no strict rules. When I started like I can give you actually today, you know what, I know it is being recorded, but I'm going to talk about my personal practice because, that might help some people who are listening and who will be listening. So my own practice is started like probably many other people when you experience very low time in your life, when you feel completely lost, and when you feel like the most lovable relationships in your life are feeling tough, and you feel like you have nowhere to go to. So I was completely lost. I was going through a lot of pain around, I think, it is so long ago that even I can't even go back on the year and the time and the date, but at least 6 years ago, if not longer. So I was completely lost, and I went in one place to learn meditation. It was an open evening, but in that 1 hour, I was given nothing, nothing. Literally, that lady just stood on a board and draw one diagram and said that this is how the brain works. So you live your life in a conscious mode, and then everything is under the surface. That's exactly what she said, and that's all she said. As if it was some hidden secret that cannot be revealed. You must pay first 600 euro and sign up to the whole program. Then only you can avail. And I was amazed, actually, there were so many people who all filled out the form and signed up on that day with that much information. But for some reason, I walked out, and she even took the form away from me because, she was afraid that this form could be used or whatever. I don't know what she thought. But anyway, I was told, give the form back, and when you make up your mind, you can come back, sign the form. And I was like, all right. And I went home and thought about it. And I don't know, I just didn't feel like I wasn't impressed enough to part away from my 600 euro. So I decided to learn meditation by my own self-discovery. So I just kind of, started to sit. That's all I did. I literally sat on a mat every single day. And I used no guidance, nobody to support me or tell me what I was doing. But I could feel a shift. The first thing that I noticed when I remember that, I have a place of worship where I have a daily practice that every day when I wake up, I take my shower, then I come and do my little ritual or worship. So in that same place, I started to meditate. And I would just come and sit there and I'm a very, I'm very hyper person. Like I, I'm very impatient as well. So I feel if I can do it, anybody in this world can do it. Because Catherine described herself as very calm person. I wouldn't have described myself like that at all. I would be a person who, if you say something to me, I would have thought about it for ages. Oh my God, she said this to me. I would be very hurt. I'll take it personally. And I used to be quite anxious and things would bother me. But that's why probably I was the perfect candidate for this journey. And like those who are already calm, I think that they will benefit even more because it took me a while to come to that place of calmness. So the first thing that happened to me when I started sitting in one place is that I remember there was a clock on top of the place where I used to sit and meditate. So I could hear the tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. That's all I could hear. And there were times when I couldn't hear tick tock, tick tock. So I was like, wow, there are times when I notice the clock ticking and when there is a time when I don't. And that time I didn't even know anything about mindfulness. So I had no idea, but I just let it happen, whatever was happening. And then the next thing that happened to me, again, I had no background, even though I come from India. People think, and I was familiar with yoga practices. I was familiar with breathing exercises and pranayama very well. But I was never taught how to meditate. Nobody ever did meditation with me. So I had no idea. And then I started to notice that actually my breath, like if there were more thoughts going on in my head, then my breathing was faster. And when there were less thoughts going on in my head, my breathing was slower. And I just kept at it and at it. I just kept coming back to that same mat every single day. And literally for 5 minutes, that's how I started. And I have no idea when that meditation practice grew from 5 to 10 to 15 minutes. And I had no rules. I never sat, although there was a clock, but I probably never even looked at the clock, what time it is, when I'm getting up. I never set the alarm. But that was my starting point. And I'm glad I did it that way because it was self-discovery. Then I learned the book of Raja Yoga and I learned about Raja Yoga, which is all the science of thoughts. And Raja Yoga meditation is all about living your life in soul consciousness. So normally people think that I'm a body and I have a soul. But in Raja Yoga meditation, they say that I am a soul who has a body. So you live your life with that soul consciousness and it immediately shifts your perspective because then you know that you are an eternal soul, which is timeless, bodiless, and soul can neither be created nor be destroyed. And it is an energy that will continue to live beyond this body. So Raj Yoga meditation gave me a lot of depth of understanding when I read the book of Raj Yoga by Swami Vivekananda. So that was my second step in my own meditation practice. And then I came to know from one of my work colleague about mindfulness, and I went and took courses in mindfulness and started to practice. But I just fell in love with mindfulness. There is something about, because probably where I started and what I noticed was exactly what they were teaching. So my practical and theory became one, and my experience with more and more mindfulness practice started to resonate with me so much. And I found that this practice actually doesn't discriminate. It is so secular. Whether you believe in God or you don't believe in God, you can still practice mindfulness meditation. And being a health professional, I'm a qualified nurse and a midwife, it's all scientific. So the part of the brain that is responsible for creating stress is amygdala, which is the hind brain. And that hind brain activates fight and flight response. So fight and flight response is when we start to release the stress hormones in the body. So, a lot of steroidal hormones, and they cause stress. Once they are released, they don't discriminate. So they cause havoc in the whole body. If it is only short-lived, body knows how to heal it, so it will neutralize the effect and you will not fall sick. But if that pattern continues and continues, then amygdala actually remains activated for a long time. Like a lot of people after COVID-19 pandemic will experience long-term physical illnesses or chronic illnesses, and they will not know, but they will be related to this stress that or fear that COVID-19 would have caused, or if they were more unfortunate, they might have experienced psychological stress and physical coronavirus illness or related illness. So I'm more worried about the time that is coming for people. So more and more people need to take up these practices, because if we have this hind brain, we also have a front brain, and there is a reason why it is placed in the front. You know, nature is very kind, and nature wants us to focus on this part of the brain. But and that's why, see how you can relate that, because amygdala is hindbrain, a lot of people get a lot of stress and tension in their neck, shoulder, and all this area. So why this area is designed for carrying stress and holding stress in the body. So because the part of the brain that resides here is responsible for creating stress. So this part of the body actually does us a favor by holding stress and confining stress in that area, unless it is too much and it has to flow through the whole body. I hope it makes sense. And then the front part of the brain, which is beautiful, like, it is here, literally behind your forehead. So that is called prefrontal cortex. And prefrontal cortex is the executive part of the brain. It literally plays executive role in our brain. So when we meditate, we activate this part of the brain, because this is the part of the brain which calms us down. And with regular meditation practice, it becomes activated. And once it is activated, it helps you to just live more consciously. As Catherine was saying, that she notices more things. So this is not that it is her imagination. This is exactly what is happening in her conscious awareness. And this is not happening randomly by accident, because she has made a conscious effort to meditate since doing mindful living course. And that executive part of the brain is getting more and more activated every day. So the conscious awareness will allow you to notice more things, to experience more peace. And with my own practice, I actually shared with you the experience, but I never told you why I kept going on this path. Because, oh my God, I felt my best after about few months of practice. I was like, wow. Like, I was a person who wouldn't shout out too much or give out too much, but I will create stress in my mind. And I was that kind of person who would just mutter things in the head and then feel irritable. So I used to feel a lot of irritation inside me. And I never even knew because I was living in an unconscious mode. But once I became conscious of that irritation. And that irritation started to become less and less and less. And now I can happily say that it doesn't exist. Irritation does not exist for me. There are times when I feel little bit of stress, but because I'm so aware that it can be resolved quickly. Because it can't hide anywhere. It used to go and hide somewhere in my brain, and it used to cause all the things that I didn't know. So my energy level improved like anything. I remember that I would go to work in that energy and come back home with that same amount of energy. And I was like, wow. And because I was doing everything consciously, I could relate that this is all not happening by chance. It is actually happening because I'm making conscious efforts and with such a little time that I was dedicating. It was literally 5 or 10 minutes, and that's why I want to encourage people, because they are probably told by some meditation teacher that you will only get benefit. You must meditate for at least 20 minutes. There will come a time when you will be able to practice for 20 minutes. But I don't want anyone to run away with that time frame. I want them to start practicing even if they say that they can only do for 1 minute. I'll say, great, start today. Start today and sit for 1 minute. And for that 1 minute, just make a conscious effort to notice your breath. So that's why I said in mindfulness practice, you will have no escapism at all. Everybody can meditate and everybody should meditate. So now I will just share actually one research that I have written down here, which might be useful for some of you guys who have old parents. And at this time during COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of old people are suffering a lot because they're cocooning. Thankfully, in Ireland, we are in phase 2 now. Phase 1 of restrictions lifting. Sorry, I'm confused. Phase 2 from Monday, isn't it? Yeah. So now people are allowed to go out, and it is a great news for older people. But I was reading actually today one of the research study, and it says a pilot study that was conducted through the University of California, Los Angeles, Australia's University of Adelaide, and the Alzheimer's Research and Prevention Foundation, and it showed really great results for old people. So if you have older parents, please tell them and get them on this path of meditation, because most of them are actually free anyway what they are doing. So tell them to start to meditate. So it showed that especially in Ireland we have a lot of Alzheimer's cases for some reason. So it found that meditation is particularly effective in older adults who may be experiencing problem with their memory. So it is really good for people to maintain their memory, good memory. So Alzheimer's cases can either be reduced or be delayed. So the onset of Alzheimer is already a very slow process. When somebody develops, it is a slow process, thankfully. But if they practice meditation, it can be slowed even further. And then there was another research at Carnegie Mellon University, which showed that transcendental meditation, which is, I told you that it's quite famous worldwide, can also reduce inflammation. So when it reduces inflammation in the body, that means it improves overall health, because every disease we know in medical science is a result of inflammatory response from the body. So we know that chronic inflammation has been linked to so many health issues like Alzheimer's, depression, cancer, diabetes, heart disease. They're all result of inflammatory process in the body, a lot of autoimmune responses as well. So mental, emotional, and physical health will certainly improve with regular meditation. And that is every reason that everybody should be meditating. So on that note, less talking and more doing. So we will do another short meditation of from mindfulness. So we will do a lake meditation. So with the sound of the bell, you can either close your eyes or lower your gaze. And remember, there is no right or wrong way. If it is more comfortable, if you have a knee problem and you want to sit on a couch or sit on a chair, you don't have to sit cross-legged on the floor, because we don't want body to become a barrier for the mind. We actually want body to be comfortable, but still kind of in an alert mode. That means no matter where you are sitting, even if your back is supported, keep the spine straight. Okay? And you can lower your gaze if you decide to keep your eyes uh, open. Now start by noticing the breath coming in and going out. And imagine yourself on a sunny day walking on a lakeside or on a beach. You can pick your own favorite place. And just notice the body of water, its expansion, its flow, its clarity, and how it allows things to just be. Doesn't try to change anything. It doesn't let anything stop it from flowing. Now start to notice that in this lake, you notice a big rock, a rock that is visible from far. And appreciate that how water is actually flowing around the rock. It allows the rock to be there, and it still finds its way to flow. What does that teaches us? Now imagine one problem in your life that you're facing right now. And imagine that problem is just like that rock sitting right in front of you. Now imagine your own life like this water body, like this lake flowing. Will you let this problem stop your life from flowing and living to its fullest expression? Or will you find your way through this life, passing through this problem? You're not wishing that this problem goes away, although if you do, there's nothing wrong. But you will have to take some action to allow yourself to flow through this life's problem or challenge. Because the problem that you are facing at the moment may not be completely in your control to resolve. If it was, you wouldn't let it be there in the first place. You would have resolved it by now. So try and bring your attention as to what aspect of this problem are not in your control. And if there are many aspects of this problem that are not in your control, that means this problem is exactly like that rock, sitting right in front, but the water does not stop. So does life. It does not stop. Now, imagine yourself walking barefoot on the seashore or the lakeside, and it's nice soft sand, and you're enjoying the barefoot walking. Or if you're happy in your flip-flop, keep them on. And you start to walk towards the water. Now feet are soaked in the water. With each wave, water is coming and washing feet. While standing there, start to bring your attention to the breath, coming in and going out. And so does the waves come in and go away. See if you can synchronize this movement of the two. Breathing in, water coming to the feet. Breathing out, water flowing away from the feet. Every time mind starts to wander, just bring it gently back to the breath and the water coming in and going away. Feel that cold sensation on the feet. Continuing to notice the breath coming in and going out. After enjoying this, now you want to go home, the physical home where you spend most of the day. And you start to walk home, but keeping the mind home in the body. And notice the part of the body that are touching some other surfaces and part of the body that are not touching any surfaces. Notice any part of the back of the neck that feel tense, and shoulders, do they feel tight? Notice the right shoulder and notice the left shoulder. Notice the whole area of the neck. And deliberately and consciously scan the brain with this new information of amygdala, the hindbrain, and the prefrontal cortex, the front brain. And bringing the awareness gently back to the breath, coming in and going out. And with the sound of the bell, you can open your eyes. And with this, we come to the end of today's session, our first monthly mindful meet for this month of June. I have a date for the next one so that you can organize yourself around that. So the next month it will be on 14th of July, which is second Tuesday of the month, I think. But 14th of July we'll be holding the session. So I'm going to stop the recording and then you can all ask any question or share anything.